Welcome to video number 3, okay, for week 1. So this is 1.3, and we're going to talk about doing an observational sketch today. So we're going to go through this kind of fast, so if at any point you need to pause the video, just reach down and push the pause button and play it when you're ready to go again. Okay, so if you notice, you have in your student book, you're going to have the steps to completing an observational sketch. So you may want to have that out so you can kind of look through the steps as we go through them. They will be on the screen though, they'll be showing up so you can see them. Number 1, we're going to look at the assignment given. Now, the assignment that I'm going to give you right now is to sketch a fork. We're going to do something really easy. So, I want you to take a minute to go and find a fork. Okay, so did you find a fork? Now, I don't know if you just picked up one fork, but I have a regular fork. See, nice regular fork. But I also found a plastic fork. Okay, looks almost the same, just a little more plain. I also have a spork. It's another kind. And I have this unique old fork that I've never ever used. Okay, and I have no idea where it came from. So I have some forks. Now, so the second thing, if you notice on your steps to completing an observational sketch, second step is to investigate your subject matter options. Here's my options. Do you have options? Or did you just get one? That's your regular fork. Well, you might want to take a minute to see if you actually have other types of forks in your kitchen. They might look a little different. Some might be bigger or smaller. So see what you have. If you want to take a minute to do that, go ahead and pause the video and we'll continue in a second. Okay, now that I have all of my options in front of me, did you get your options? Good. We're going to choose our subject matter. That's step number 3. Okay, and I am going to pick the regular fork. Okay, this is what I want to do. I know you thought I was going to pick this one, didn't you? Okay, so now after we have chosen it, we need to put the title on our paper so we can go ahead and get that done. So let's do that. Okay, I have written my title, okay, which is the sketch, see, observational sketch number 1, and the date. Now, you may not be doing this on the 16th, so you need to put whatever date it is when you're actually doing your sketch, okay? Don't put the date that you had class or anything like that. Put the date you're actually doing the sketch. Okay, so number 5, step number 5 is we're going to use our observational skills to observe the subject matter. So here we have our subject matter. And you have a list of observational skills you can use, but we're just going to kind of go through a few. We're not going to do all of them, and we don't have time. So we're going to look at this, and we're going to look at some of the lines that it makes. If you notice, there's several lines here. So we're going to do some straight lines here. And if you notice, it curves right here. So we're going to observe the curve of this. We're also going to look at the space inside. Now, if you notice, there's space inside here. Okay, and you see how the space inside is larger up here and it gets smaller, larger, gets smaller, larger, gets smaller. Okay, and if you notice also, the space in this middle one is kind of less than all the other ones. Okay, so we can keep that in mind. Let's move on down. Let's look at the space in the handle. What happens at the space here versus the space at the end? Oh, it's smaller, bigger. Okay. And we notice these repeating lines on it right here. Okay, so we have some repeating lines. So that we have a curved bottom. We have a pretty good idea of what's going on here. Let's compare it to itself. Look at the space here versus the space on the bottom. Oh, look, it's like almost 2 of the tops. Okay, so this space is much longer than here. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind too. So we have observed this. If you're done observing your object or your fork or whatever you're doing, I know this time it's a fork, but next time it'll be something different. When you're done observing, then you're ready to move on and do your drawing. Okay, so our step number 6 is to begin sketching. Now, just so I can get everything on the page, I'm going to set it over here so you can see what I'm doing. But normally I would have this off to the side so I could look at it and then look back and look at it and look back. But we're just going to kind of set it up here. And we need to figure out a pretty decent way to arrange this, okay? How we're going to fix it up. So I'm just going to kind of do it normal right now because I don't have a lot of options at the moment as far as arranging this. So we're going to start our drawing. I'm just going to have it right there. That'll be good. This will be easiest for y'all to see. And first I'm going to kind of get the shape here. So, and we need to make sure it's big. We want it to be about almost take up half the page. So we want a nice big drawing. So I'm going to come up here and just do a sketch of the top. See? Okay. And then we'll do a sketch of the bottom. I'm making my fork a little bit bigger. You see that? Okay, so we have some roundedness down here for the bottom. Remember we said it gets smaller. So we need to make sure it gets smaller as we go up. Then what does it do? Comes out. And then it's straight, right? Straight up from there. Now, are they all the same size, or do we have some that are taller than others? They're all the same size. So we could come up here and kind of flatten it off. Okay, like this. Now, remember, let's look at the spaces. We got 1, 2, 3 spaces. Like this is the negative space. You'll learn that later. That's the space that doesn't include our actual object. So I'm not talking about the 1, 2, 3, 4 prongs. We're looking at the space in the middle, okay, this empty space. So watch this. We're going to have this one's in the middle, right? So here's one space. And then we'll do another space. And this space is kind of like a triangle. Do you see that? It's kind of like a triangle shape. And then the other one's also like a triangle shape. Okay? So, now look, they all end at the same spot, so I can take this and let's go ahead and make it a little darker so we can see. The inside is rounded, right? It's like a little curve. So there's a sketch. Now let's look at these lines here. Let's put some of these on there. We'll make these a little bit lighter. Here's my other one. It kind of curves a little bit. Look, it's really curving down here. Right. Kind of like that. So there's us a sketch, okay? Okay, so once we are finished, we need to go ahead and make sure we have written somewhere on the page why we picked this object to draw, okay? I mean, I could have picked 3 other forks, but I chose this one. Now, I need to explain why. Why did I decide on this one? And I picked this fork because I liked the design on it. See, I had the design. So it could be any reason why you picked the actual thing that you did, okay? Just a single sentence is all you need, unless you want to put a little more, it's fine too. Maybe you find something sentimental and you say, oh, I did this fork because it used to belong to my great-great-great-grandmother and it's been passed down forever and I wanted to do a drawing of it. That's fine too. So put the reason why, and we'll move on to the next part.